YouTube. Welcome. Thank you so much, guys, for stopping in. Another segment of Real Talk No Chaser. Really excited about this topic today, a little personal to my heart. Um, Winning isn't everything. And as I've said before, um, we I provide fresh take commentary um, with some cool gaming and, you know, at the same time. So let's get into it. So today I'm going to be playing NBA 2K16, um, and I'm going to be the away team. I'm going to be playing with the Portland Trailblazers. I'm going to be playing against the Dallas Mavs. We're going to be at home. Um, so I don't know if I'm going to win or not. I try to make the quarters really short so that it can kind of keep up with my commentary because I try and give you guys the condensed version so that we can all, have some thought provoking commentary and then get about our day. So, with no further ado, let's do it. Okay, so basically, my background is I love sports very dearly. I played some competitive ball in high school and whatnot, and so I know what it's like to be on a team and stuff like that. I'm not gonna, discuss too much about my personal stats, but I could say that for me, you work so hard and you put in all this work and I know I got to a point where if we weren't winning, it just wasn't fun anymore. There just wasn't a joy. So I can completely, um, understand, uh, you know, the whole, wanting to be a champion and everything like that. That's what you strive for. But I feel like there's more to it than just that. So let me continue. So we obviously live in a competitive society, right? I mean, we have top tens for everything. I mean, we have magazines that tell us, who's the most, attractive, sexiest man, sexiest woman alive, and stuff like that. And I get it. It generates stories. It's fun. We like to compare. I mean, we have top tens and stuff like that, and it gives us something to discuss who's better and blah blah blah. I just feel like that there's a little bit more to it that we should be thinking about. So hold on, let me see if I can jam up. Here we go. Oh, Aminu. Woo! Oh, see, they fouled me. All right, so let's talk about our competitive society, right? So I mentioned the it's not only the top tens and this and that, but also it's the workplace, right? If you want to get a promotion at work, you got to beat out somebody else. These companies, sales, advertising, they're fighting for your attention. There are a lot of dollars spent, millions of dollars in terms of marketing, research, and analysis and stuff like that because with the internet and everything the way things are today, I mean, people, we all know it's fragmented. I mean, you have so much things. I mean, I can go on and on and on from vines and whatever that are really short to keep people's attention because nowadays it's more and more fragmented. You got so much going on. You could do so much on your phone. Anyway, so I've noticed that we have, whether it's coaches, preachers, life coaches, whatever. We have a lot of individuals. Let's go, Damian Lillard. Woo! Anyway, we got a lot of preachers, teachers, etc., that help us teach us how to win. They talk about things and stuff like that, and it's motivating. We love it. It's fun. Wow, I feel the juice. Like we get that emotional feeling. And I did a little bit more research on what these guys preach and stuff like that. And basically, some things that came up is they say, hey, winning isn't an action, but it's a lifestyle. And I can completely understand. We are creatures of habit and stuff like that. So basically, they're saying, hey, this is not something that you turn on and off. It's an action, it's a lifestyle. I got that, no problem. They also say, hey, losers let things happen, winners make things happen. And I thought that was interesting. I definitely agree and feel like, you know, You got to take control of your own destiny. So I understand where they were coming from. So I was like, okay, this is, it makes ooh, to the rim. So I got where they were coming from with that. Um, switch, man, switch. Anyway, so I felt like, okay, I looked up some more research, and we all heard the quote, right? To the victor go to the spoils, right? So we get that. Winners write history, and we can look at so many examples, whether it's war, whatever. We all can relate to this one way or another. But I just felt like there's more to the story. We should look, because there are actually some drawbacks of winning. And I know you might be like, well, what are you talking about? Okay, well, consider this: if you've ever had any type of success, and you know you can understand that it kind of gets routine. You kind of go on autopilot. You're like, okay, yeah, blah blah blah, and then you get kind of complacent. It gets kind of boring, and not to mention lonely. Okay, this is something that we don't really talk about, but it's like, okay, think about it. I'm gonna just make a simple example. Okay, when you were a kid, right? You learned how to tie your shoe, right? So at first, you couldn't do it. You had problems doing it, and then eventually it just became like it's nothing. You do it all the time, right? So that's my whole idea. So even though you might not feel like, oh, okay, well, it's a big thing, a big accomplishment. I didn't have to compete against nobody, but at the end of the day, when you started, it was something that you didn't know how to do, right? So my whole point is that, okay, you mastered it, you got it. Let's just say, for argument, in a vacuum, okay, I won against my shoe, was my opponent. I'm tying my shoelaces, and then you don't think about it. Do you get a rush when you know? You just tie your shoelaces and you keep it moving. So all I'm trying to say is that we can all relate to that, where you're like, okay, yeah, 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 and you kind of just get comfortable, and you're like, okay, what's next? So not to say that the win, if you will, isn't important. Ha, let's go. But it just gets kind of autopilot. So if we want to talk about, um, I did more research, all right, to try and be informed for you guys. I believe that we need to look more into losing itself, right? And there was a very fascinating article, to me, in Forbes, and Forbes basically, oh, Dame Lillard is gonna dunk, uh, and it states, all right, if you want success in any aspect of your life, you have to embrace failure and build on the benefits. So I truly believe that, we focus so much on winning, but yet we don't really discuss the importance of losing, if you will, and what failure can do. So they, in this article, mentioned a couple keys, if you will, to um, unlocking the benefits of failure. First off, is number one is face your fears. All right, I don't really need to go into too much detail. Pretty explanatory. Number two, face the facts. That's another way of saying, hey, having a reality check, being honest with yourself in the situation that you're dealing with. Number three is feast on your failure, which basically is, the way I interpret is, instead of getting beating yourself down and saying, "Oh my God, I'm a failure." No, okay, this experiment or this trial or whatever didn't work out. Now I'm gonna try something a different way. So we could see how that could be good for us. And then the last one is forge ahead. And I think we all can relate to this one way or another. But I think it's something that we forget. It's like, oh, I failed, it didn't work out, and I quit. You give up, and I don't think we could do that. You can't just give up. So according to Forbes, those are four keys to unlocking the benefits of failure. All right. Got the fourth quarter coming up here. So this is going to be crunch time. But we got the benefits of failure right here. According to the article and according to Forbes, we have clarity. They're saying that failure gives you clarity. you're able to focus on what's important. Um, uh, okay, champions. Okay, they according to Forbes, becoming losing or failing or whatever you want to call it builds champions. You gain that perseverance. Um, they also saying creativity. So failing, you become you find different ways of going and accomplishing your mission. They also saying it builds grit. So basically, we all know what grit is. Grit is grind, not giving up, sticking to it. That's another way of saying perseverance. Um, and also, a benefit of failure is it builds character, and in my opinion, it humbles you, right? Because it brings you back down to earth. See, because when we're winning, we're like, okay, you feel like you're invulnerable. But when things don't go your way, all of a sudden everything is crashed down, and you're like, okay, maybe I'm not invincible. So I think those are very important things about failure. All right, so moving forward, I know I didn't go into great detail about each particular subject, but I try and throw it out there so we can, have mature and respectful debates. Okay, so my take on all of this is that ideally in a vacuum, I understand that we don't live in a vacuum and it's not a fairy tale, but I believe that we should be competing against ourselves. It's not so much about worrying about what the other person next to you and etc. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody that's bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, more attractive, if you will, whatever the case may be. So this whole idea of I have to be, whatever. I don't agree with that. I believe that it's it's becoming the best version of yourself. All right. And I, okay, put it this way, from all the research and in my personal takes, it's more the journey is more important, all right, than the actual. We get so focused on the actual destination, but then we forget about the journey and the process. And you actually, that's where you learn the most. We think about climbing Mount Everest and we think about getting to the top, but really, you're going to gain the most and learn the most by all of the small creeks, the valleys, etc. And not necessarily, okay, the top of the mountain. So I believe that it's a misconception. Um, I believe it's a misconception that I've got to win. I've been there myself. If I don't win, they're not going to like me. Okay. But on the flip side of that, I feel like we need to pay attention is that have you ever been on a winning side and then you've gotten those hate stares, that envy, that jealousy. So I don't believe it's such a sweet thing. Yeah, some people are gonna moralize you, but then a lot of people are gonna hate on you because at the end of the day, if you're not a winner, you're a loser. So somebody has to be on the bottom, and I disagree with that because I don't feel like just because you won, you're better than. And so I mentioned that in my other video, and I think it's something that's very, very important. In this game right here, all right, we ended up victorious. But you know what? I'm just, I tried to play the game and keep it in timing with me just to show the point that, okay, so whether I won or I lost, it didn't matter. It's about how you play, it's about the journey. At the end of the day, it's about the process and falling in love with the process, doing your best, and, living with the results one way or another. So I want to encourage you guys out there that, you know what, yes, there's nothing wrong with going out there and doing your best. You should be doing your best, elevating yourself to the highest level. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be so focused on the results. We should learn from our failures, pick ourselves up, move forward, and remember that it's the journey that really matters where you're going to learn mostly everything. So, you guys, I appreciate you guys coming through. I hope you have a wonderful day.